Welcome to another episode of the Culture Index. I'm here with Andy Macpherson, one of Australia's leading architectural photographers. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
First question. So, how did you get into architectural photography?
I just basically was chatting to my brother-in-law, and he's a builder.
Yeah.
And he was showing me a photo in Seattle, of all places.
Yeah.
And it was just an incredible photo, and I mucked around with the camera as a teen.
Yeah.
And so I'd always wanted to make video or photos or create stuff.
Yeah.
And when I saw that photo, I said, I have to drop everything I'm doing and go and try and create a photo like that.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's very impulsive.
I was going to say, so just straight up, you just saw the photo, I'm done.
Totally. And in my seventh year of doing it now, so yeah,
awesome.
It stuck with me.
What do you love most about what you do?
People.
Yeah.
I shoot mainly people's homes, and so I get to spend a full day with them, and I try not to annoy them too much. I hopefully make friends, but there's a guy with like a big camera in your house, just hanging around all day. Totally, awesome. I'm not going through their socks and undies, but you do you're shooting so much of their house, and so it can feel. For those guys, it's hopefully never feels invasive in a way, but it definitely is intimate in a way because you're showing how people live. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, which is cool. It's fun.
So what sort of style of home excites you the most to shoot?
I think a home set I think lots of stuff.
Yeah.
If I was talking like my dream home, it's something set in the landscape.
Yeah.
Something up the top of a hill with mountains behind it, or you know what I mean?
Good.
And it's a cool piece of probably modern architecture.
Yeah.
Small, like a little modern cabin or something, sitting up in the mountain or something.
I love that contrast though that it creates when you have such a modern piece of architecture there. And it can be so rugged the background as well, which is sick as well.
Mate, that is sick. Yeah, I love that too, actually. And so that would be the dream. But generally, like most stuff, I'm not a handy person at all. So anyone that can actually build anything, I'm easily pleased, But, I see a lot of stuff, and I'd say things where there's really clever solutions. Like if I understand the constraint. So, if you look at, even something like Casuarina where, you're near your neighbours, it's like, how do I create a yard?
Yeah.
And how do I create privacy? But how do I, not feel like I'm in a barricaded off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So people might, it's those gestures given the kind of constraint people have.
Yeah.
That I think is really cool.
Yeah,
so
cool.
I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, nice. In your opinion, what suburbs have you seen grow the most from like having older style homes to go into new architectural builds?
Good question. I think off the top of my head, it would be that pocket of Brisbane, or lots of parts of Brisbane where they've got that heritage law, so they have to maintain that beautiful frontage.
Yeah.
And then I call the houses where they do the renovation the mullet house.
Yeah.
So they have this beautiful modern, mullet house. Mullet house.
But sure.
So I think in Australia, in terms of what I see, in terms of alterations and additions, definitely places like Tenerife, New Farm, Red Hill, all around that area.
Yeah.
I find they tend to have. Really interesting alterations and additions. Awesome. And coming back to that thing I said about constraint, it's, he's an old Queenslander. Yeah. And really cool because the council and the government's trying to maintain character.
Yeah.
So they have some strict laws around that stuff.
Yeah.
But then out the back, like, woo, go for your life.
So, glass, concrete,
do whatever you want. Totally. And some of that stuff's done really well. Yeah. And some of it's done not so well.
Yeah.
And so you see a really big mix of like going, oh, that's a bit jarring.
Yeah.
It's like putting a Porsche back onto a Datsun
you
front.
See the front, you sort of go around the corner, you're like, wow, this is quite nice.
Okay,
we got this now.
Interesting. So so I see a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, wicked.
Really cool.
Tell us your secrets of how you actually capture those unique essence of a property through your architectural images.
Yeah, good question. I think lighting is a big one to create mood, and so it's one of those things where you're understanding which way the house faces and its best light. Is a huge part of it. Yeah. And then definitely just being there at crazy hours. This time of year, there's a house yesterday that unfortunately got stuck in traffic, which was crazy, and the owners didn't want us in that early, but it was a south-facing house with a really cool entry.
Yeah.
And it's one of those houses where if I had my way, I would have been there shooting it at like 4:45 a.m. Queensland time.
Yeah.
Just to get that first little bit of magic light. Yeah. I'd normally do that. Unfortunately, yesterday, as an example, wasn't that. But that's where you create the magic is, I think, telling a story with the light.
Yeah, awesome.
And I think putting people in photos.
Yeah, interesting.
And it doesn't have to feel like a portrait or they're facing and looking directly down the camera. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think just having people living in the space and that feeling very candid,
Yeah.
I think that's a way you really, show the story, tell a story about the house.
I love when people liven up images though with people.
Totally.
'Cause I think a lot of the time it makes it more relatable as well.
Yeah,
eh?
100%. Yeah, I always say, I think there's a narrative, like, to your point, makes it relatable. Here's someone in the house.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a bit of a narrative thing. And I think there's a scale thing too.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so,
yeah.
Sometimes you shoot a house and you're like, how big is that? Is
Yeah.
that and you put like someone in there, oh wow, that's massive.
It's a big door.
Yeah, oh, that's quite small,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who are the last couple of architects that you've worked with, and
Yeah.
what do you love most about shooting their work?
Ooh, off the top of my head, I worked with a guy named Dave Hansford yesterday.
Yeah.
DAH Architecture, and he's in Brisbane.
Yeah.
He's really relaxed.
Yeah.
And he's got really cool detailing, and so he works on stuff from like sort of multi-res where there's quite tight, constraint around budget,
Yeah.
versus like other sort of nice houses with bigger budgets, and he always has creative solutions.
Awesome.
So I really like seeing what he comes up with.
Awesome.
So that's recent, and then if I'm thinking about architects sort of in the Northern Rivers,
Yeah.
I work with Harley Graham a lot,
Yeah. Cool.
and he's
Yeah.
really good, and he is a big ball of energy, and I
Yeah.
love his energy. He's really excitable, and sometimes architects can be quite reserved,
Yeah.
Culturally.
Yeah.
And he's this guy that sort of like breaks the mold, and he's larger than life, and he's a party guy, and
Wicked.
you know what I mean. And he's
Love
fun, and the house is about making things like really livable, but also architectural.
Yeah.
So
Wicked.
it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like
Awesome.
working with those guys.
In your own opinion, what type of architecture makes it like a really good family home?
Ooh, good question. I think open plan living
Yeah.
is the way.
Yeah.
I think especially in our area in Casuarina, where you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
are, and this whole area, given the climate,
Yeah.
the stuff I see that's the best is when they integrate the landscape and the home, and so there's this seamless flow where you can go from inside to outside.
Love
and
it.
Which is really cool.
It's
Yeah.
nice. It's nice when you sort of don't have any step up, so you're just like one
Yeah.
flat area.
Love that.
So good.
So yeah, and so like for example, yesterday I was at a house and they had this beautiful crazy pave, that sort of crazy pave floor.
Yeah, yeah,
cut
yeah,
out
yeah,
the
yeah, I like
stone
those.
masonry.
Yeah.
And it just went from literally outside to inside.
Yeah.
And so there was that breakdown of connection. And one side it was a tennis court. So
Yeah.
I'm not a tennis person.
Yeah.
But if you're a tennis person, you'd be in
I
heaven.
love it. Yeah.
But the other side had an epic barbecue and a yard and a
Wicked.
view. So look, I'll head to that side probably.
Wicked.
So, but it was just nice. So that it's spread out from these big sliding doors.
Yeah.
You could be in your kitchen, but you're also like looking straight on. There's no sort of barriers to getting out there and
Yeah. Wicked.
putting some steaks on the barbie or halloumi if you're that way inclined.
We play tennis, right?
Yeah, play all about the other side, hitting some tennis balls. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, mate, that's us. Wrap
Sick.
us up.
Legend.
If you guys want to see more of Andy's work online,
Yep.
where can we find you?
check out my Instagram, andymacpherson.studio, or my website, andymacpherson.studio. There you go.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you.